welcome back. We are on a new job today, and the new job is, well, the one I least enjoy, especially this year, and that's spreading some fertiliser on our second cut, for our second cut. Now if we come into our big hill here, you can see that the grass is really pushing on now. This is actually a lot less than what's on the other one. One over there is actually growing at an awful pace. It's a great growing field anyway. It always just bursts out of the ground. We have little bits of docks coming back, but otherwise not near what it was. The weather conditions were perfect for spraying, but I didn't spray them very heavy because I didn't want to interfere with my growth of grass, if you get what I mean. I always have that fear when you're spraying silage ground. I've got hit before with other sprays that have knocked the grass back. Thankfully it didn't happen this time, but there are little bits of Dawkins about, definitely are, but I'll not touch them now. I'll wait till the autumn time and I'll hit them again and try to wipe them off the field altogether, because they're a hateful old thing. You don't want them in your crop of silage. Now, just as I'm getting started here, somebody might ask how much fertiliser am I putting on? Well, bear in mind, this got a little over 1,000 gallons of slurry per acre, and it's growing very well. It's got a lovely colour to it. It's great growing weather as well, so we're not really trying to put on much fertiliser, to be honest with you. We're trying to save whatever we can. So I'm coming along here with about 1.5 bags an acre. That's what I'm putting on this. A 27 can, because it has got plenty of slurry. It doesn't need any P and K. It should be fine for that. Another thing you have to bear in mind is this field got plenty of lime last year, and that lime should stand to itself now. I've definitely seen a better crop this year, first cut wise, on this field compared to other years. Definitely the best crop I've seen in the last 10 years on it, but the growing conditions were excellent too, so I don't know whether it's down to the lime. Definitely the lime helps, absolutely helps. There's no question in that, but whether it's all down to that, growing conditions were good. I'd say that had a lot to do with it. We're down now in our backfield, and look at the grasses on this already. What? Oh, there goes Mr. Hare just laying right at my feet. Any of you watch our videos last year and see the third cut we done, you'll see how heavy this field was. It's just a nice field to grow grass. The only problem is down in the back bottom there is very steep, but we may do something to that in the future. We might fill actually or bulldoze some of this hill down to level that out. Anyway, we'll get in. We're not going to give it a massive dose of fertiliser in here because this field doesn't need it. It's got enough of slurry and it's growing like mad as it is. It's a lovely dark green colour. It goes to show you about the power of the slurry. And if it's down to the dribble bar and the lime, look it, I don't know, I'm no expert in that, but they definitely played a role. Alright, so we're just finished the fertiliser spreading. That's the hill done, backfield done, another field cross here just done as well. So all in all, 22 acres done, and yeah, a wee small bit left in the spreader, if you can see it. Oh Jesus, a very small amount. But that is going to go in a little area, very tiny little spot that's just down there, an awkward little corner that's going on it. One thing I will show you is my fertiliser spreader has started to show a bit of age this last while, and that's unfortunate, but I'm have to treat that. I have to stop that from happening because this is a perfectly good machine, and it'd be a shame just to let it go like that. So that is going to have to be addressed. I'm going to have to take all this off in the autumn time, or even before it. Just strip this all down, sand this all back, put on some sort of treatment to kill that rust that's just started around there. The other side's perfect. Well, it's starting to go just around there. I do wash this every time it's done. As soon as I'm done, I do wash it down with the power washer. and it does help. It definitely does help. Now, people have mentioned before, how old is this fertiliser sower? I bought it second hand. I think it was the next demo when I got it. I have it a long time now, but there is the actual date on it there. It's 2009, so it just needs them few things tidied up. So we may paint, see here, starting to go here, and this is all in the last year that's starting to really, just anywhere where there's openings like that seems to be where it's really starting to go to town. But they'll all have to be patched. I'm not going to paint the whole fertiliser sower or anything like that. There's no need. But these areas here, just mark them off, clean them, treat them for the rust, and then paint them. Even if it looks blotchy or patchy, whatever, it doesn't make any difference as long as the thing is preserved and looked after. Although it's got perfect on the side of it, nothing's ever perfect. No machine is ever perfect. I suppose if I've made an improvement to this one, I would have a different sort of a bin mechanism in there. That split bin, you always have to get out when you're spreading your last load. So if you were spreading all day, you needn't worry about it, because you wouldn't empty it fully, maybe just leave maybe a small bit in the bottom. But if you wanted to empty out or sow in a paddock or whatever, you'll always have to get out and jump into it and level it out with your hand, just to make sure that it empties out equally, if you understand what I mean. But look, that's something I can put up with. It doesn't bother me that much. Suppose if you're older and you want fit to jump in and out of it, that could be a problem, but you could always make something that could fit in and do that. But otherwise, it's got a great spread to it. Love it for that. So yeah, good spread, happy otherwise. Just that little thing. Every machine has its little flaws here and there. There's no such thing as anything been perfect. But I want to show you something before I do leave here. Just get across that wire to turn the ass me trousers. So we're just going to feed the calves in here. Now this grass here is going to have to be topped. They're on a big area, and this is the first little bit of grass the calves was on at the beginning, and you can see the way it gets wiry. Calves don't like to eat grass like that, so that's going to have to be topped. The rest of it, they're on the silage ground now, and nice clean stuff, lovely sweet grass, and they're doing well on it. But this lassie here, 57 is the biggest white calf here, and I came over here, this is Monday, and I came over here last Wednesday and instantly could see that 57 wasn't well, wasn't at itself at all. It was laying away in the corner. I had to raise it to get it down to eat the meal and the trot. That was a bad sign, and it didn't just look quite wobbly on its feet and didn't look right. One thing I did have in my head, I had the grass trimmer over the day before, and I trimmed around all the electric fences, just bits of nettles and stuff, and I was just wondering if it ate some of the weeds that I cut. That could happen. It probably wasn't the wisest thing to do when the cattle were already in the field, but I did it anyway, because there was a lot of our nettles and stuff touching the fences, and I was doing the other ones. I just said, go in here, do it now when I have the trimmer with me. But anyway, now as they're eating their meal, you can see 57 over here on the far side is fine now, absolutely fine. So what I done was I put 57 into the crush, and we checked his temperature. That's the first thing I wanted to check, the calf's temperature, to see had it got an infection or what was wrong. So temperature was at 40.3, so the temperature was raised. Another thing I like to watch is its dung. You can tell an awful lot from an animal's health, but just looking at his dung, believe it or not, his dung was quite solid, quite hard of itself, so I noticed that. But apart from that, there was no other obvious problems. The calf looked quite alert, didn't look sick. It just looked like it had no energy. So a temperature would do that. It'd do it yourself if you had it yourself. So what I done was I give the calf Trimazole 24, kind of thinking that the calf got a chill, because the nights have been quite cold this last while. Warm in the daytime and cold at night, and now kind of a cold breeze blowing, and that would give a calf a chill. And although they have plenty of shelter over there in that corner where they lie behind the house, because the prevailing wind comes this direction towards you, if a habit of laying up there under them trees and there comes a sharp wind across there, and it could be just that was causing it. So I did that last, I think it was Thursday morning or Friday morning. But lads say when we seen the calf that evening, it was like nothing ever happened. The calf was flying. It was great to see. The following morning I treated it again, put it right in, it just runs straight in with the rest of the calves, and treated it again, and it worked. It solved their problem. Another thing I did give it was liquid paraffin. It's just like us taking a laxative. Liquid paraffin, give it a small dose of that, just in case there was something stuck in a lodge or something, and that might have helped as well, because it's flying there now. You can see yourself, it's back to normal. Great sight to see, but it can easily go the other way. You'll always have them wee things, that's just part of the job. Just keeping an eye on them is the most important thing, and the weather plays a big part in it also. About 4 or 5 videos back, I did a video of spraying, and halfway through that video, if you want to go out and check it back for yourself, this whole video might make more sense if you see that, but halfway through it, I got off and I addressed something that gets asked an awful lot of our channel, and that is GPS systems. Yeah, from fertilizer spreading or spraying, would always mention is when you get yourself a GPS system. Now, on that video, I addressed that kind of thing, but in case you haven't seen it, we got offered two. We got offered one very early of last year, and we got offered one there only a few weeks ago, just before that spraying video went out. And as much as I appreciated the offers, these were very expensive GPS systems, with the whole auto steer and everything built into them, top of the line stuff. But I turned them down because I don't need auto steer on my farm. My farm's too small for that. My biggest field is be 15 acres, my smallest field is about 3 acres or so, and I don't need auto steer. It'd just be something to be sitting up there just as a kind of a fancy thing that I really wouldn't use unless it was on camera. And that's just telling you as simple as it is. But one thing I did say was, if I ever was to buy a GPS system, I'd try to buy something that is as simple can be. Something that's just basic. Something that'll tell me how far I'm going when I'm spreading my fertiliser, and the same with spraying, so I'm not overlapping stuff, because we do know the price of fertiliser and stuff. We all know what's going on there. So you don't want to be over spreading, and I am over spreading. Hands down I am. I would be guessing an awful lot of the time, but when I'm in paddocks that have a little bit of cover on, I can see my lines fairly well. The problem is when you go into silage ground that's after being cut and you're re-sowing that for second cut, or ground that has been topped and you're re-sowing that, which I'm going to be doing now probably later on this evening. You're guessing. You're just guessing how far away you are from the hedge, because you cannot see where you are. Again, it didn't cause me that big of an issue. I didn't pass an awful lot of remarks on it until about 2 days after that video went up. I got a phone call from a local silage contractor, Kieran Murphy, and he is our local, will know Kieran. And Kieran said to me, I have a system sitting here that might do your trick, just exactly what you want. An EZ Guide 250. Who makes it? Was it Trimble? I don't know if it was written, but it's an EZ Guide 250. He said, I have had this thing for a good few years now. If you want it, I'll sell it to you at a good price, because it might as well be out doing something than sitting in the box, he says, in our place. I don't like naming an exact figure, because people say you paid too much for it, or people say, you know what I mean. So I'll put it this way. In farming terms, it was the price of probably around a half ton of fertiliser. Another thing Kieran said to me was take it home, use it for a couple of weeks, and you know something, if you don't like it, just drop it back to me. It doesn't make any difference to me. At least then you get the fair chance of seeing what these things do. But he says, I don't think you'll drop it back. I think you will like it, because just what you said on your video, for sowing fertiliser, for spraying, this will suit you to the ground, he says. So I just said I'd ring you and give you the offer of buying it. See, a lot of people mention this, just out of the blue. They'll keep mentioning this and another one. And the other one was one you sit on the bonnet that has lights, LED lights. This has LED lights as well, of course, but this one sits in the bonnet. I don't even know if it has a monitor in it. Maybe it does have something inside, but another basic system was mentioned as well. I just can't remember the name of it off by hand. But this is the one I went with. So, yes, it is case. Get them in different brands of tractors. I don't know, I've never seen one in a Massey brand yet, but it makes no difference. I think that's just what comes up on the home screen when you turn it on. Maybe you can do a software update and change that. Look at, you could have worse brands wrote on the front of the screen. Let's open it and see can we get this thing fitted. At least we have the instruction books. We have everything with it, which is great. I'm just going to open it here without the wind taking it for a ride on me. There's no big marks or chunks out of it. The screen has no scratches really at all on the front of it. Just paw marks, that's about it. It's got all different mounts. I have to figure out where these things go. I know there's a mount that goes on the roof. Stick this onto the roof, and I think this by here is magnetic, I'm told. And he will, yeah, attach himself just there like that. So only thing left to do, I suppose, is get this up in the cab and see if we can get it mounted nice and easily without having to do any holes. We're not going to drill holes, we're not drilling holes. And of course, you know me, you know the way I like to read the instruction books. Seatbelt. Do you mind staying over there for a bit? Let's see, can we get that to work? It's not grasping onto that bar very well. Alright, so we hit our first little obstacle. It won't mount on that bar. The bar is too thick and this is just not big enough. So I'm just wondering now, there's another way of doing it. So I got an old coupling that I used to have in an old milking machine. It's just used to go around the stainless steel pipe and the milking, or maybe it was the vacuum line, I'm not sure. But that might fit around there. And this, sit in there. Hopefully, that will go through. It looks like it all fits. I have a couple of washers that fit on the far side, which are far away from me. Okay, one done. Bet that looked really easy, didn't it? It just looked like it just fell together. Well, it didn't. I let the bolts and the washer fall about 10-15 times, but of course you didn't see that because that's the power of editing. It makes it look good. But trust me, any man that's working on machinery or doing bits and pieces like that, editing comes in very, very handy, because as soon as you put on the camera, the nuts and bolts will fall everywhere, they'll run everywhere. It just happens. So don't be deceived by thinking everything goes lovely and smooth, because most of the time it doesn't. Bingo! Couldn't be better, just everything's just right here beside me. Next thing I do is put a bit of power into it. Get that plugged in. No, the other way. Always the way. There we go. Alright. I'm not going to worry about any of these wires for now. I can tie that up after. I just want to see, will the thing actually work first? We turn it on. A bit of power into it. How do you turn it on? There we go. Case. There's no satellite pickup on it so far, so we have to put the antenna on next. How am I going to get up on the roof of this tractor? I'm going to have to stand on my lovely red bonnet. That's the plate stuck down. It's a bit of normal tape, sticky tape or double-sided tape for sticking on your number plates. And there is pretty solid. I can't see that going anywhere. If it does, it's not that hard to replace it. The other thing just sticks on top of it now. You have to kind of get it as centre as you can on the roof. So what I did was I took out a measuring tape, I measured it, I really was precise and measured again, and I measured it even a third time, and then we got it, make sure it was dead on the middle. And I done none of them things, I just eyeballed it. Right, so we're back at it here now. I didn't get to film the actual antenna went on because my camera decided to have a bit of a hissy fit, and the rain then decided to join in on the crack and just come down on top of us. So I'm just going to show you what exactly I did. So I loosened these bolts here the whole way around on this lid here. This lid here is what covers your air conditioning unit, and you can remove this cap completely. What I didn't realize was this is plastic, this is metal, so I didn't actually need to put that on at all. Took it off, and I was fit then to run the wire underneath this. Now there's no steel lip there, it was fit to go under here, go in and up here around the rubber seal and into the cab very easily. There's nothing resting on the wire that's going to really cut through it. Got a little bit of heat shrink. I didn't actually heat it, I cut it in half and put a couple of layers over the wire just to protect it, and then heated it on. It just made that area a little bit thicker that's just going around the rubber seal, but nothing should really go through it. And when you have that cover off up above, it'll open up this whole area here, and you'll be fit to run the wire the whole way across here. Wee bit of fiddly, but you will get it, and down behind this here and out just there. And that worked out an absolute treat. So next thing we'll do tomorrow is we'll give it a little bit of a test and see how it goes. Now, I've had a bit of an experience with this. I've had it up on the field there just checking to see how the GPS and stuff was working, and I found an issue straight away. And you can actually see it now on the screen. The satellite, it's an amber, well, it's actually in red there now. There's no satellite connection at all. It took about 3 or 4 minutes for it to find GPS and connect to it, right? And then it green light, everything was good. Got into the field, it wasn't in the field 5 minutes till it lost connection. It found connection again, I moved to a different area and lost it again. It done that 3 times, it lost connection. So anyway, I got on my phone and I made a few phone calls, and I just Google searched Trimble Vantage, and I was talking to a guy there called John, and he was chatting to me about it, and actually it was very helpful in fairness to him. And he said, you're going to have to update it. Just go in there and check and see when the last time it was updated. It'll show you in the menu. So I went in here into the menu. Last time that was updated was the 14th of the 9th 2009. But he laughed when he heard that, and he says, yeah, that's your problem there. He says things have changed a lot since then. I was looking up sites and things, seeing can you download it, just a lot of people would do, just download it from the internet, and I wasn't able to do that. In fact, you have to go to a dealership to get that done. I didn't realise that. But he was grand, 100%. Don't worry about it, I'll send it to you. We used a thing called Dropbox, which allowed him to send our bigger file basically to me. I have this little USB, I'm after formatting it here. Christ it. But anyway, I formatted it. So I'm going to plug it into this now when I turn it on, and hopefully it will recognise it and start updating automatically. Fingers crossed. Maybe. What's in there now? Firmware upgrade warning. One or more upgrade files have been detected on a USB storage device. At any point you can press this to exit the upgrade wizard, but we don't want to do that. There we go. There's the file that I've just put on the USB. So that's it. Gonna have to leave it now for a few minutes. This hopefully will start counting very shortly. Here it goes, 100%. Okay, it's going faster than I imagined, but it's updating now, and that should make a big difference to it. Yeah, it's going to reboot. That's a good sign. That means it has done its job. I got it wrong the first time. I went through a whole rigmarole, but turned out that it was just my USB stick. I actually, when I got the file, I transferred the full file onto the USB, and that kind of just jumbled the thing up. What I should have been doing was just picking the one that was the largest, basically, that had a disc on it. I was told this because I rung the guys at Midloud Farm Machinery, the case dealers, and they just told me straight away how to do it, and they're all right. It worked perfectly. So it's the following evening now. I'm just going to actually start for milking the cows. I didn't get to do anything with it today at all because it's been raining quite heavy today. It's been raining actually a lot this last while. A lot of heavy rain has fallen, and ground has got a little bit mucky now, there's no doubt about it, but I haven't got a chance to use the system. I'm sure it will work absolutely fine. But this video is long enough without me going over and starting to drive through fields and trying to suss out the way that it works. But it's going to be a learning curve. There's no doubt about it. It's just going to take me a bit of time. I'm not going to make another whole video of me using and how to use it because I don't actually know. What I'll do is I'll pop it into videos maybe here and there and let you know how I'm getting on with it, but it's just going to take time for me to get used to it. Don't be afraid to share some tips and tricks and things I might be able to try, or if you know of it, and to make it a bit easier, because you're right up to date now. This is actually Saturday, you're going to see this video tomorrow, so you're right up to date with what's happening. That antenna that's on top of the cab, it's called a patch antenna, I think it's called, but I've seen them little patch antennas on Amazon. They're only about 15-20 quid, and if that's the right patch, which they look exactly like the one I have and it's for that system, I'll get the same one for the 54, and I'll put it and I'll install it and leave it there. Just the actual antenna itself, have it installed and left in the right place, so I can just pop that out and stick it into the 54 and you're ready to go. You can use it on 2 tractors. It only takes a matter of minutes to do. I probably would have never done that, only for the advice I got on YouTube, and I'm hoping you're right, but I think you are. But I do listen to what you guys do say, and a lot of people recommended it and told me when you get used to it, you wouldn't be without it. So I'm going to see if that's right. Not a huge investment, so time will tell. I'll let you know how we get on with that. Now, just before we end today's video, we added a round neck t-shirt in our merch store. A lot of people were asking for round neck t-shirts, and all we had was polos before that. Finally, we got round to adding one to it. We have one now. It's actually based on our 7.6. If it ain't red, you know the rest, and it's there now if you want to go and check it out. It's in black and white and several different sizes. It took us a while to get there and find one because I turned a lot of them away that we were sent out in samples. We just sampled a lot of stuff and just wasn't happy until we found one that you could wash. You want something that lasts, and that's more important to me than anything else. I think we have it right now. It's there in the shop if you want to go and check it out, if that's something that interests you. Otherwise, I'm going to milk these ladies and start my evening's work as normal. If you like today's video, don't forget, hit that sub button, you give us a like, ring that little bell to notify you when our videos is up, and until the next one, we'll talk to you again. What do you think, Mudini?